you see Mr. Banks' arm out the window firing several shots at the victim, towards the victim.
Banks' attorney says this is a celebrity witch hunt.
Did you commit the other crimes of which you're accused?
No.
You can't talk around these fake ass. I got the streets, I got the youth, I got the trenches. I always wanted to be like a superstar.
What happens when loyalty, violence, and music collide? This is the story of Lil Durk, one of the most influential figures in the Chicago's drill scene and violence that defines his career. Lil Durk is affiliated with the Black Disciples, also known as the BDs, a predominant street gang in Chicago. He's always referenced his ties to the gang in his music, especially in his earlier work. This affiliation has shaped much of his image and narrative, with references to the BDs and their code present in lyrics and public persona. It was often rumored that Lil Durk was a GD at first and switched his set, which is not uncommon in the Chicago area. The Black Disciples BDs were founded in the 1960s by Larry Hoover, a predominant figure in the Chicago gang culture. This group later split in various fractions, but the BDs remain one of the largest and most influential gangs in the city. The Black Disciples leadership is centralized, and they follow a ranking system that includes both street-level members and higher-ups. The Gangster Disciples, also known as the GDs, also founded by Larry Hoover and David Barksdale, initially rose from a different fraction, but would eventually split from the Black Disciples in the 1980s. The GDs had more of a widespread national presence, especially in Chicago, where they often engaged in rivalries with the BDs. The BDs and GDs have a long-standing rivalry, which has been a source of violence and tension in Chicago. Their conflict is a central part of the gang dynamics in the city and has predominantly been featured in rap culture. This rivalry has led to violent turf wars, and both gangs have a strong presence in the areas like Englewood in the south side of Chicago.
So you give us Larry Hoover, we put you back on 26, and you'll work for us. I went in my pocket, pulled out the card to my lawyer, slid it on the table, and said, call my lawyer. And from then on, 26 years later, here I am, free man, without telling, without compromising, without being someone I'm not. Rats, stooge pigeons, people who tell things to get out. This is the type of life, we don't live this type of life. I'm a Muslim first and foremost, no doubt about it. But even in Islam, we don't believe in telling. We don't believe in rats. We don't believe in stooge pigeons. So for someone to try to tell you to tell on somebody else to save your own neck and all this, you get in this thing, you hold your own weight.
Lil Durk's pops came from the Englewood area of Chicago. He repped the GDs. Dante Banks, or Big Durk, he was the fourth born out of 10 siblings, in which 3 of his older brothers were already in prison, while his mother, Lil Durk's grandmother, struggled with addiction. According to Big Durk, one life-changing moment happened when his family was kicked out and evicted from the home due to their mother's struggles. Big Durk decided that he was not going to relocate with the family this time, and instead he decided to live in a car near his former residence, finding ways to get to school and under the radar. Eventually, Big Durk joined the streets, ultimately landing him a life sentence in prison. According to the court documents, the defendants were convicted for their participation in a cocaine conspiracy which operated in Chicago from the fall of 1991 through May of 1993. The primary organizer of this conspiracy was Dante Banks, who purchased powder cocaine from 2 suppliers starting in September or November of 1991. During the trial, the jury returned a general verdict finding all of the defendants guilty of conspiracy and various other charges. The defendants' post-trial motions seeking new trials were denied. The district court conducted a sentencing on May 14th of 1994. Mr. Banks, Mr. Shipp, Mr. Dunlap, and Mr. Mills were each sentenced to life in prison. At the time of the sentencing, already a father of 5, while Lil Durk was only 2 years old when his father was sentenced to life in prison. Without the guidance, protection, or structure that a father might provide, Durk found himself turning to his environment for answers. In Chicago, where gang culture runs deep and the streets often become a surrogate family, young Durk had no exception. The absence of his father left him vulnerable, and he sought out for older figures in the neighborhood, usually people who had already established themselves with the harsh realities of street life, specifically Chicago. As a teenager, Durk felt the weight of the world pressing on him. He had to grow up fast and without a steady hand of a father figure to guide him. He found himself drawn to the same lifestyle that enslaved many of his peers. This was a harsh reality, but in many ways, the streets provided him with the same structure, camaraderie, and guidance that he would probably get from his sought-out father. It was that same environment where he learned the rules of survival, how to hustle, how to protect himself, and how to gain respect. During interviews, Lil Durk admitted that he was from the Englewood area of Chicago. He said there wasn't a lot of money around. There was a lot of shooting and a lot of killing at that time. It's worse now. There was a lot of killing going on as a kid. Took a lot of stuff out of me growing up. A lot of shootings going on. But I made it. But it's even worse right now. I was bad at school. I had bad grades, all of that. I ain't gonna lie. When I first made Sneak Dissing, it was like 2007, 2008. I was actually playing basketball. Once I made the Sneak Dissing video, we got great feedback from it and started to take it serious. Throughout Durk's younger years, he was in and out of Chicago city jails, dating all the way back to 2011 when Durk was only 18 years old. On an interview, he explained, "When I got caught with a police rolled up, there was a lot of us standing out there. They grabbed me and got the tossed the and I was through. I had to do 3 months in the county, bonded out, and I went back to do jail for 87 days. They made me cut my hair so I couldn't hide any weapons. They were talking crazy. All types of BS.
But now I'm back. It's over. It was the worst thing ever. Cause when they cut my hair, lady guard was like, "Why you cut your hair?" But it supposed to be mandatory, and I'm like, "What you mean? What the f cut my hair for?" Then they did me any type of way. I looked in the mirror. I say my career over with. They cut me bald, all type of shit.
Lil Durk's record label, Only the Family (OTF), has deep roots into Chicago's rap scene, emerging as a significant force in the city's drill music movement. Founded in 2012, OTF was initially a collective of artists close to Durk, reflecting on both business ventures and community missions. As Durk's fame grew, the label signed additional artists like King Von. King Von brought his own stories from the Chicago streets into his music, contributing to OTF's rising influence. The label's name emphasized loyalty and brotherhood, aligning with Durk's emphasis on family and community ties, especially within the music scene. Federal authorities are trying to say that OTF is not only a music collective, but they're potentially connected to criminal activities, challenging the fine line between his role in entertainment and alleged gang affiliations. That same year in 2012, the L's album was released. Durk brought on an edge of his sound that would ignite rivalries still flaring today. Since then, he's never held back from calling out his enemies, fueling a mixture of genius street tension and industry feuds. One of his most publicized rivalries, at least in the music industry, was the rainbow-haired rapper 6ix9ine. Known for his publicity stunts, 6ix9ine took aim at Durk when his own career needed a push. First, he criticized Durk's music and popularity, but when he didn't get a reaction, he upped the disrespect, going by the spot where Lil Durk's cousin Newski was killed, posting about it and using it to hype his own album release. Lil Durk and 6ix9ine both released albums on the same day, November 27th of 2020. Lil Durk released the album The Voice, which received significant attention and praise for his raw emotion and focus on his real-life experiences. 6ix9ine released his album Telltales, which came after his highly publicized legal issues and cooperation with law enforcement. Even though the beef wasn't as serious as Lil Durk's previous beefs in the street, Durk kept it quiet and didn't engage with 6ix9ine after the album release. He even said 6ix9ine's team tried to pay him $3 million to beef with him, just to boost 6ix9ine's album sales.
Hey, look, I'm gonna make this shit real quick and simple, right? Fast and easy. For one, fuck racism. You know, all the police brutality going on. You know what I'm saying? We gonna stand together. But look, I'm first by saying this, right? Fucking rat. You can't compete with a fucking rat on street shit. You know what I'm saying? And I keep telling y'all that's this shit. Start responding to that clown ass Dilla. Start responding to that clown ass man. But this is another thing I just want to address on the voice of the streets, right? Whatever I say fucking goes, right? I could say this, I could say that, it's snap. I got the streets, I got the youth, I got the trenches. I always wanted to be like a superstar, but knowing what's going on right here with all this shit, like the industry, that shit fake as hell. Motherfucking being around these fake ass, you can't talk around these fake ass niggas buying numbers, niggas buying bundles. So all this shit fake, right? But let me tell you this. That the label called me. Somebody from his camp. I ain't gonna say his label. Somebody from his camp called somebody from my camp. Talking about they'll give me $3 million to keep trolling with this nigga, right? Dead. I hope y'all on here looking and listening. That shit dead, man. I never turn my back on the fucking streets. Ever. I'm the fucking voice, you know what I'm saying? That money shit ain't gonna change a motherfucker. So I ain't gonna never respond to this nigga ever fucking again, right? Say what you want. Do what you want. You can't fucking control me, bitch. I'm the streets, you know what I'm saying? Hey, look. Hey, play me and Drake shit real fast. Don't play a little boy in the club while I'm in that bit. Ah! Hey, the streets of 1,000 points, bitch. 3 million. I'm not ever saying nothing about his ass to this shit. I mean, I ain't never saying shit about his ass after this live.
Lil Durk also had a notable beef with Chicago rapper Chief Keef, especially in the earlier years of Durk's career, as they were both predominant figures in Chicago's drill scene. Although tensions between the two have simmered down in recent years, their early feuds had a significant impact on the Chicago rap scene. Durk's feud with NBA YoungBoy has been highly publicized since day one. It reunited after the death of King Von, Durk's close friend. He was killed in a shooting involving NBA YoungBoy's affiliate Quando Rondo. Both artists released diss tracks targeting each other, continuing a bitter rival. King Von, also known to the government as Davon Bennett, was mostly raised at the Parkway Garden homes, also known as O Block. This is on the south side area of Chicago with his mother. King Von lost his father to street violence. It is said that Von would pay tribute to his father in multiple songs. Throughout the years, King Von was in and out of the streets, making tons of visits to jail. At the age of only 20 years old, Von was charged with first-degree murder and 2 counts of attempted murder in connection for an incident that killed a person and injured 2 others. 3 years he was acquitted in December of 2017. This jump-started his music career. King Von and Lil Durk's relationship began when he connected their shared neighborhood, Chicago's O Block. It's known for its high crime rate and gang activity. Both were affiliated with the BDs and shared similar backgrounds, facing legal troubles while growing up amid Chicago's challenging environment. Lil Durk was already established as a figure in Chicago's drill scene by the time he brought King Von along. Durk brought King Von under his label OTF. He supported him by featuring him on collaborative projects. This first significant milestone was Von's first hit track, Crazy Story. This song grabbed massive traction and marked the beginning of his rise. The duo's collaborations like Crazy Story 2.0 and Like That, this showcased their chemistry, which fans never overlooked as formal due to how close they were. The two's loyalty will come to a test this time February 5th of 2019. Outside the Varsity, a well-known drive-in restaurant in Atlanta, both rappers, King Von and Lil Durk, were accused of an involvement for shooting a man by the name of Alex Weatherspoon, who had reportedly had $30,000 in cash, an expensive chain, and a luxury vehicle, which prosecutors claim made him a target for the robbery. Atlanta Police Department detective testified that he had surveillance footage showing Lil Durk firing a gun from his vehicle during the incident, leading to charges for both King Von and Lil Durk. The allegations were serious, including charges of attempted murder, aggravated assault, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felon, and criminal gang activity. Both Lil Durk and King Von maintained their innocence, with Lil Durk publicly stating that he had nothing to hide. He ultimately surrendered to the authorities voluntarily.
Case against a rapper accused in a outside of the Varsity will move forward. Today, Lil Durk appeared in court where a judge ruled there was enough evidence for him to go to trial. Channel 2's anchor Lori Wilson is live near where the happened, near the Varsity, and Lori, police say they have video evidence in this case.
Jabita, APD says they used at least 5 cameras from local businesses, including this BP, as well as from the Varsity across the street in order to build their case against Lil Durk and his co-defendant. On Friday, detectives from Atlanta and Chicago testified in the criminal case against rapper Lil Durk in Fulton County Court. They say around 5 in the morning on February 5th, Lil Durk, whose real name is Dirk Derek Banks, and his co-defendant Devontae Bennett were seen on camera involved in Alexander Witherspoon, a person police say they knew.
They were hanging out. They went to a studio to make music.
The rapper and Bennett listened to the evidence against them in court. Police told the judge later that night the victim, Banks, Bennett, and others went to a nightclub, a gas station, and ended up in the parking lot of the Varsity. That's when Witherspoon said he was robbed and shot.
He said his chain was snatched off his neck, and he had $30,000 stolen from him, and they stole the vehicle he was driving.
Police say Banks was seen on tape shooting.
You see Mr. Banks' arm out the window firing several shots at the victim, towards the victim.
Banks' attorney says this is a celebrity witch hunt.
Were it not for the celebrity status of these 2 individuals, then this would be an aggravated assault.
Banks released a single "Turn Myself In" the day he turned himself in. It's gotten almost 7 million views. The prosecutor charging this wasn't just a robbery and shooting, but gang activity. She put a Chicago detective on the stand to testify that Banks and Bennett are members of Chicago gangs.
Is it possible to continue your affiliation and even commit crimes when you move out of Chicago if you're in a different city or if a different area?
Yes, ma'am.
The judge ruled today there is enough evidence to move forward with all charges against Banks and Bennett, including criminal intent to murder as well as criminal gang activity. They'll be back in front of a judge in a month to ask for bond. Live downtown, Lori Wilson, Channel 2 Action News.
All right, Lori, of course, we will continue to watch what happens here. Durk Banks spoke exclusively to Channel 2's investigative reporter Mark Winnie just before he turned himself in last month.
You're about to surrender as we speak.
Yeah,
How come?
because I have nothing to hide. Like, I have nothing to run from.
Did you do it? Did you shoot this man? Did you commit the other crimes of which you're accused?
No.
You can watch Mark's interview with Lil Durk by clicking on the story on our homepage on our website, WSBTV.com.
After the arrests, both Durk and Von were able to secure bond from the Fulton County judge. Despite their serious charges, the judge had found probable cause to charge both with these counts based on surveillance footage. Eyewitnesses were linking them to the scene as well. Durk even took to social media, releasing a song called "Turning Myself In," which he addressed the legal issues and claimed his innocence. Durk's bond conditions were strict. They required him to wear an ankle monitor and barred him from being in possession of any firearms or engaging in any gang-related activities. The bond was ultimately set at $250,000. Though the details surrounding King Von's bond wasn't publicly specified. These legal issues were significant enough to place limitations on Durk's movement and activities, which slowed up the money. As a part of the bail conditions following the 2019 arrest, Lil Durk and King Von were prohibited from associating with each other. This restriction was typical in cases involving gang activity, as is aimed to prevent the two from potentially coordinating or any related unlawful activities. The strict no-contact rule showed how the DA was not playing around and trying to convict Lil Durk and King Von. On November 6, 2020, Chicago rapper King Von, whose real name was Davon Bennett, was killed in a tragic altercation outside a hookah lounge. The incident began around 3:20 a.m. with an altercation between King Von's group and associates of Quando Rondo's escalating to gunfire. Quando Rondo is a rapper from Savannah, Georgia, known for his close association with NBA YoungBoy, one of hip-hop's biggest stars at the time. Coming from a challenging background, Rondo joined the Rolling 60s Crips, and that affiliation is the core to his image. His connection and relationship to NBA YoungBoy has also linked him to the ongoing tensions between YoungBoy's crew and other rap figures, including King Von's circle. This association ultimately placed him at the center of a high-profile conflict that led to King Von's death. Surveillance footage was released, and it shows King Von approaching members of the group, leading to a fight followed by shots fired by individuals from both sides. The scene became even more chaotic when off-duty and on-duty Atlanta police officers tried to intervene, leading to further fire exchanges. Atlanta police claimed that they attempted to de-escalate the incident. Bullets continued to fly and Von was struck multiple times, ultimately being taken to the hospital where he passed away.
Have been following all morning long. Two men in an overnight shootout with Atlanta police and two groups of people. Joe Ripley has more as the GBI steps in to investigate.
Atlanta police say two people are after an officer-involved shooting here on Trinity Avenue in downtown. As dawn turned to daylight, you could make out dozens of evidence markers. GBI crime scene investigators combing the scene.
Pretty active scene, pretty chaotic.
Atlanta police blocked off Trinity Avenue from Forsyth Street to Ted Turner Drive. They say just after 3 this morning, two groups got into a fight outside Club Monaco. Two off-duty Atlanta police officers were nearby.
Police officers, once they noticed what was happening, attempted to intervene and to stop the situation, but it continued to escalate with them being there.
The arguing intensified, ended in gunfire with two dead, one in critical condition and two people in stable condition.
The primary suspect for King Von's death is Timothy Leaks, also known as Lul Tim, a close associate to Quando Rondo, also hospitalized at the same hospital due to gunshot wounds. He later faced murder charges. Being that King Von and Lil Durk couldn't be close to each other, Lil Durk learned about the news of King Von being shot on his Instagram Live. Tension between Quando Rondo and King Von's crew escalated after that event on November 6. Following the incident, Quando Rondo, who was directly involved in the altercation, released statements and songs that framed events of self-defense. In the song End of Story, Quando defended his actions, referring to Von's approach that night, who was his associate who protected him and was charged with King Von's passing. The lyrics emphasized his stance on self-defense and further provoked King Von's fan base, associates, and intensifying the public feud. Quando Rondo's social media and public statements suggested that he did not have any prior animosity towards Von and claimed he was unaware of any existing issues between them. Lul Tim was initially charged with felony and spent several months in custody. However, in March of 2021, he was released from jail after posting a $100,000 bond. This release came despite his earlier bonds being denied twice. The court's decision allowed Lul Tim to post bond under the condition that he will wear an ankle monitor while waiting for further legal proceedings. The next year, August of 2023, those charges for the passing of King Von had been dropped completely. The case was dismissed before he was ever formally indicted. Defense attorney confirmed this, noting that there was insufficient evidence to proceed with charges, and that the decision came after the investigation failed to produce significant legal grounds of prosecution. Dante Banks Jr., Durk's older brother by 4 years, was heavily involved in the streets. Not only the streets, but a part of OTF's record label, and was a major key in building Lil Durk's career. It was said that D-Thang and Durk's relationship was very tight.
I'm saying now they rockin', man, squash, you know, man. You dig? You'll change that, man.
Unfortunately, his brother would lose his life to the same Chicago streets. June 5th, 2021, D-Thang, in which he went by in the streets, was outside of a strip club. Some reports say a confrontation started in which escalated, where shots were fired and D-Thang was hit in the head. He was pronounced gone at the scene. Some rumors say D-Thang wasn't the initial target, while others say it was planned. It was rumored the next day 2 people were alive at a gas station. They went by the name of Oil and Jasky.
Now at 6, the brother of local rapper Lil Durk is dead after shooting at a club in Harvey this weekend. A police officer also injured.
WGN's Kelly Davis is live at the Harvey Police Department to explain what happened. Kelly?
Good evening. Harvey police tell me they were doing routine safety patrols at Club O as it was closing late Saturday night into early Sunday morning. That's when this all went down and multiple shots were fired. Then 2 hours later, another fatal shooting. Police say they are looking into possible retaliation at play here. Club O is quiet this evening, but police say there was a chaotic scene at the strip club early Sunday morning. Multiple shots were fired and lots of weapons were found at the scene. Dante Banks was killed when he was shot in the head. Banks is the older brother of locally known rapper Lil Durk. The 32-year-old is also a rapper who performed as D-Thang. Shortly before Banks was shot, about 500 feet away, police say Officer E. Muhammad heard gunshots and saw someone with a gun at the club. There was some sort of altercation and the officer was shot in the thigh. A spokesperson from the police department says Muhammad was treated and released in good condition, but it's unclear if the officer was targeted or if he returned fire. Around 2 a.m. on Sunday morning, about 2 hours after the shooting at the club, there was another fatal shooting. Police tell me this one happened on West 55th Street, where 39-year-old Seneca Price was killed. We are still looking for more information on that shooting, but right now police say no one is in custody for any of these shootings over the weekend. Live at the Harvey Police Station, I'm Kelly Davis, WGN News.
All right, Kelly, thank you.
Rumors on the internet say the brother was unalived by Dump Street, in which Durk and affiliates posted on social media dissing them. The Dump Street Gang is a faction based in Chicago, known for its presence in the city's South Side neighborhoods. Like many Chicago gangs, Dump Street has been involved in conflicts with rivals and is a part of the city's complex landscape. This influenced both street culture and local music. Durk mentioned his brother's passing on several songs. Only a few weeks after, on July 11th, 2021, Lil Durk and his then girlfriend India Royale were involved in a home invasion shootout at their residence in Georgia. The incident took place around 5 a.m. Multiple intruders forced their way into their house. Both Lil Durk and India were armed and exchanged gunfire with the intruders. They had managed to escape before the law enforcement arrived. The couple was unharmed in the exchange, and authorities opened an investigation, and they were asking the public for any information on what happened. This incident followed a period of heightened concern for Lil Durk. He had recently just lost his big brother D-Thang weeks before. People started to speculate that the reason that Durk and his girlfriend were so on point, it was because he had just lost his brother. The beef back and forth would come to a head 2 years later after King Von's passing. On August 19th of 2022, another major chapter in the long-standing tension came to a head. This incident is believed to be a part of a larger revenge plot related to King Von's in 2020. Quando Rondo and his entourage was in Los Angeles, put into a gas station in a black Cadillac Escalade. This is when a white sedan reportedly approached and 3 individuals dressed in all black opened fire on the vehicle. Attackers quickly fled the scene, leaving shattered windows and several bullet casings behind. Quando Rondo was unharmed, but Lil Pab didn't. The group managed to drive away from the gas station, stopping about a mile later to seek medical help. Authorities and paramedics arrived, providing CPR and transporting Lil Pab to the hospital, where he later succumbed to his injuries. Footage from the scene captured Quando Rondo visibly distressed, screaming as police attempted to aid his friend injured. Internet ran with plenty of rumors on why Quando Rondo and his friend were targeted in Los Angeles.
Right now, the search is on for 3 people who police say shot at a Savannah rapper, a member of his entourage. It happened in Los Angeles, and cameras captured the aftermath. Shots fired, a fight taken to the streets, and this chaotic scene, the ending of a that started in Los Angeles, California. Sheriff's deputies pulling out a man who had been shot in an SUV. Savannah rapper Quando Rondo, a passenger in that car, frantic at the sight. It all started at this mobile gas station at 5:30 Friday evening. LAPD says witnesses heard multiple gunshots, then watched a couple cars zoom off. 3 people in one car shot at this black Cadillac Escalade. It's unclear if those inside shot back.
Can I get some space, please?
It ended at Santa Monica Boulevard. Deputies found it peppered with bullet holes and a shattered window. One man inside, a member of Rondo's entourage, had been shot. The 23-year-old was taken to the hospital where he died. A scene left with remnants of the fight, shoes left in the street, doors flung open. The suspects still on the run. We still don't know what spurred it all, but LAPD says it started at a gas pump.
Victim vehicle, they pulled up, they were pumping gas, and it looks like they probably finished pumping gas, and the suspects approached from the alley, got out of the car, and started shooting at those victims.
Investigators are still trying to piece together details, but they're looking for a white 4-door sedan with suspects wearing dark clothing.
Police helicopters overhead, so we knew something was up.
People in the neighborhood shocked by the news.
Disappointed. There have been a lot of incidents in the past couple years. It does seem that things have been happening more often on Melrose, between Fairfax and Melrose and around here.
According to TMZ, Rondo was not injured.
Some say because Quando Rondo's close affiliation to the neighborhood Rolling 60s Crips. The Rolling 60s Crips is one of the largest and most influential Crip fractions. Originated in Los Angeles in the mid-70s, quickly expanding due to the reputation and size. Known for conflicts with both rival gangs like the Bloods and other Crip sets. The Rolling 60s is one of the biggest LA gangs in California roots. In Savannah, Georgia, the Crip set reportedly expanded due to the migration and relocation of members, with figures like Quando Rondo identified as affiliates. During Quando Rondo's recent legal issues, prosecutors in Georgia have described Rondo as a leader within the Savannah branch of the Rolling 60s, pointing to the gang's spread and influence beyond the West Coast. Shortly after, Quando Rondo announced to the internet that he was no longer a gang member and he was dropping his flag. Following this tragedy, Rondo publicly announced his departure from the Rolling 60s, expressing deep frustration and disappointment with the lack of loyalty and support from his gang. Months later, in October of 2022, the case in Atlanta from the Varsity was dismissed and Lil Durk was set free and off the ankle monitor. Being that King Von passed away 2 years after, the case unraveled. It seemed like right after this case was dropped in 2022, Lil Durk started to make changes in his image. Lil Durk was ready for a change. After years of navigating turbulent lifestyles, both in his personal and public life, he began turning towards the path of peace, growth, and self-reflection. One of the most significant steps in his transformation was his marriage. He married longtime girlfriend India Royal. Around this time, Durk also made the decision to convert to Islam, embracing a faith that focuses on peace, discipline, spirituality helped him establish a deeper sense of purpose. Islam offered him a moral and social compass that aligned with his desire for change. He embraced the daily practices of prayer and fasting. By 2023, Durk was active promoting peace, not only through his music, but also in community work. He began speaking out more openly against violence and advocating for unity among young people in Chicago. He used his platform to share messages of nonviolence, knowing the weight of his words carried the community like its own. This dedication to peace was about more than just his own transformation. It was about inspiring others to follow a similar path. Lil Durk's career, the same career that had taken him from the south side of Chicago to the top of the charts, now currently hangs by a thread. Recently, a bombshell hit. Lil Durk, born Derek Banks, faces allegations that he has been arrested by the federal authorities for hire. According to the indictment filed, Durk is accused of orchestrating a plan with unnamed associates to silence rivals. The document is clear on his claim reading. Derek Banks, also known as Lil Durk, and other defendants did willfully conspire to commit acts of violence, specifically targeting Quando Rondo in a planned coordinated effect. Federal authorities suspect that Lil Durk might have orchestrated an attack on Quando Rondo and his associate Lil Pab in Los Angeles. They believe Durk had hired people to take out Quando due to the ongoing tensions between the two, which may have escalated a series of threats and confrontations. This alleged plan led to the tragic passing of Lil Pab in Los Angeles August 2022, in which officials think it was a targeted hit. Investigators are working to uncover if Durk directly arranged this retaliation or coordinated it through others as a part of an ongoing feud. Lil Durk's lawyer says Derek Banks is innocent of these charges. This indictment is built on weak evidence and speculation. Derek's focus has been on music and family, and these accusations are simply unfounded. So here's my question. Is this the end of Lil Durk's story? Can he really outrun the past he spent his whole career trying to leave behind? Or does the street life have one last grip on him that he can't shake? For now, it's a waiting game. The trial, the evidence, and the testimonies. Only time will tell, but there's one thing for sure. For Lil Durk, everything's on the line.
Another hearing. Outside court, we tried to speak with Banks' attorney and his father.
Say it all.
They declined to say anything about the charges against Banks or the upcoming hearing.
Now, Banks' next hearing will be about his pre-trial detention and will be held in the Central District of California since the crime originally happened in Los Angeles. At this point, no date has been set for that hearing. We are live in Miami. Peter Danch, CBS News, Miami.
I got something.
This call was from a federal prison.
Say what, bro? I said, I know you're a rich ass nigga, but if you need anything, you know I got you.
You know, I appreciate it. You know, it's all that count, you hear me?
Yeah, hell yeah. I know how that shit be, bro. It don't matter, bro. We ain't never moved our money. Except for that first time. Once it was that, it was that. Once it was like then, everything was history.
Yeah. You know, I feel that piece same. I came up here like, shit, where you from? What you got going? I see him too, you hear me?
Man, what? Fuck a PC. Hey.
I thought they thought a computer, you hear me?
Hey, I respect your mom forever. Fuck a PC.
A lot of them could be going straight to PC. Yeah. Downstairs, they be like, man, you know you, man, send me upstairs. Whatever it is, I got to adapt to it. Nah, for sure. Can't go no more for a PC and come out hanging out crazy.
If you got to the end of this documentary, put Lil Durk in the comments. 834 Productions, signing out.